one where he did lose power. But Jonah, the nation is mourning again, and for many they would say that this is happening all over again. We have been traumatized by this as a country, as a nation, and just going back to looking at how some of the former Republican presidents as well passed away, and now we're talking about this all over again.
And this is, well, nothing new for Zambia. It's happened 6 times now. The first president of Zambia died just a few years ago, and then we also had the 4th president of the republic, but we've got 2 sitting presidents that died, the first being Levi Patrick Mwanawasa, who died in 2008 in Egypt, in Paris rather, after collapsing in Egypt when he was attending a work assignment of heads of state. And then we also saw in 2014 former President Michael Sata, who was sitting president at the time, dying on the 28th of October 2014 in London. He had a long-standing illness that he had been battling with and ultimately died from cancer. This now is very, very sad for Zambians, considering, the fact that as things stand, there is no living former president, and it brings a lot of weight. It puts a lot of pressure on the current administration, but it also kind of becomes tough for Zambians because leadership and wisdom that comes with the leadership is now, one of the things that is lacking. But I think that also is very important to add that the former president has died at a time when he's not exactly been in the best of books with this current administration. So it is almost as if there isn't much closure for citizens, because a lot of people were looking forward to this time when these 2 leaders would speak with a voice that would unite citizens. But I guess this is an opportunity for Zambians to stand together despite it being in mourning.
And speaking about that, the first time that we did get to see the former president Edgar Lungu as well as the current president Hakainde Hichilema they actually did meet when former Republican President Rupia Banda was able to speak with him at that time when he was alive. One of the things that many were hoping for was to see a unification between the Patriotic Front as well as the UPND. But fast forward to date, you have highlighted very well there that we obviously have seen what has been happening between these 2 sides, the PF as well as the UPND. But what now does it simply mean moving forward? Because from when we saw President Hakainde Hichilema meeting former Republican President Edgar Lungu at that time, they have never met whatsoever at any point.
We are consistently going to be bringing you updates of this sad news. We've got a team that's now headed to the home of the former President Edgar Lungu, but we've also have information that President Hakainde Hichilema is scheduled to make an announcement, which is going to be basically a tribute, as the news has already been broken, by the family of the former president. Speaking of which, his daughter, Tasila Lungu, has made a public statement, and she was sitting next to her husband. This happened slightly an hour after Diamond Media broke the news of the demise of former President Edgar Lungu. Let's take a look at the video by the former president's daughter who made this announcement.
Fellow Zambians, it is with profound sorrow that we announce the passing of His Excellency Dr. Edgar Lungu, 6th President of the Republic of Zambia, who departed this morning at 06 hours at Mediforum Clinic, a center in South Africa. My father, President Lungu, had been under medical supervision in recent weeks. His condition was managed with dignity and privacy, with support from all well-wishers. In this moment of grief, we invoke the spirit of one Zambia, one nation. The timeless creed that guided President Lungu's service to our country. In time, the nation will be involved to be informed of other arrangements. Thank you. God bless.
Tasila Lungu and her husband Peter Mwansa there earlier on today as they were announcing the death of former President Edgar Lungu. His political party, the Patriotic Front, has issued a statement, and their statement is a tribute to Edgar Lungu, but they're also quoting Tasila Lungu's statement or video statement that she has published. It's been published from South Africa, where she and her husband have been with the family. The former president is reported to have died in the earlier hours of today, and this obviously is a very tough time for the family, but I think that it's also a tough time for the Patriotic Front, especially considering that the Patriotic Front has only in the recent past tried to patch up some of the debris of what was left of the Patriotic Front after the 2021 election. We do know that there was a continued standoff, if you may, between Miles Sampa and an Edgar Lungu-led Patriotic Front, which only got concluded most recently, and shortly after that, Edgar Lungu has died.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing what else the party is going to say, because we know that aside from the Patriotic Front itself having to be unified, they're also part of an alliance, which is the Tonse Alliance, where the former Republican president did hold the chairmanship, or holds the chairmanship of this particular, alliance. And now many are questioning what else should we expect to hear, especially from the alliance in itself. But let's get to crossover and now speak with Elfie Mwale. Very shortly we'll be able to speak with her. But we take a listen to this obituary.
Zambia mourns the passing of His Excellency Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the nation's sixth president, who died in 2025 at the age of 68. A trained lawyer and seasoned statesman, Lungu's life was marked by resilience, political acumen, and a steadfast commitment to public service. Born on November 11, 1956 in Ndola, Copperbelt Province, Edgar Lungu pursued his early education at Mukuba Secondary School. He later earned a Bachelor of Laws degree from the University of Zambia in 1981, distinguishing himself as one of the top graduates in his class. Following his academic achievements, Lungu underwent military officer training at Miltes in Kabwe under the Zambia National Service, instilling in him a sense of discipline and national duty. Lungu commenced his professional journey at the law firm Andrea Masie and Company in Lusaka. His transition into politics saw him initially align with the United Party for National Development (UPND) before joining the Patriotic Front founded by Michael Sata. After the PF's victory in the 2011 general elections, Lungu held several ministerial positions, including junior minister in the Vice President's office, Minister of Home Affairs, and Minister of Defense. He also served as Minister of Justice and Secretary General of the Patriotic Front. During President Sata's prolonged illness in 2013 to 2014, Lungu functioned as acting president, showing his leadership capabilities. Following President Sata's death in October 2014, Lungu was adopted as the PF's candidate for the January 2015 presidential by-election. He narrowly defeated opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema and was sworn in on January 25, 2015. In the August 2016 general election, Lungu secured a full term, again narrowly defeating Hichilema. Lungu's presidency focused on infrastructure development, energy sector reforms, and constitutional amendments. In 2016, he assented to the 2015 Constitution Amendment Bill addressing long-standing constitutional issues. However, his tenure was also marked by economic challenges, including a depreciating kwacha and rising national debt. Critics pointed to concerns over press freedom, human rights, and alleged authoritarian tendencies. After his electoral defeat to Hakainde Hichilema, Lungu initially stepped back from active politics. However, in 2024, he was appointed as the chairperson and presidential candidate of the newly formed Tonse Alliance, coalition aiming to challenge the ruling United Party for National Development in the 2026 elections. His political comeback faced a significant hurdle when Zambia's Constitutional Court ruled in December 2024 that he was ineligible to run for another term. The court determined that his initial term from 2015 to 2016 served after President Sata's death.
Live broadcast. We are broadcasting from Lusaka. Sixth Republican President of Zambia, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, has died. We broke the news earlier on today, and an official communication has been made by his family confirming the demise of the former president. we expect President Hakainde Hichilema to make a statement on this, and we'll give you continued updates on what's happening in relation to this state funeral. But for now, we are joined via video conferencing by one of our reporters, my colleague Elfie Shampande Mwale, who is joining me from the Patriotic Front Secretariat here in Lusaka. Elfie, you have been there for quite some minutes now. Tell us what is going on at the PF Secretariat right now.
Indeed, what a solemn day, really sad day here at the Secretariat, PF Secretariat, not just the Secretariat, but the entire country at large. We just walked in we've been around here for over 30 minutes ago just to try to assess the mood of people flocking in to come and convey their condolences, how solemn the mood is. And of course, we've been here for some time, and we've seen that quite a number of PF supporters or members, if you will, have made their way through to the Secretariat. And I did take time to speak to the Patriotic Front Media Director, Edwin Lifwekelo, who just confirmed to me to say the party is mobilizing, strategizing their leaders for an impromptu media briefing, if you will. And I can just confirm to you right now, Jonah, that the party will hold a press briefing at 17 hours where the party Vice President, Given Luwinda, will be issuing a statement this afternoon.
You've had a chance to talk to Edwin Lifwekelo, but have you had the chance to talk to any other people that are present there? Who's there and what are they saying?
Besides Edwin Lifwekelo, we have interacted with members of the Patriotic Front. Some of them couldn't utter a word. I just heard one of them just scream and wail as he entered the premises of the Secretariat. They're in disbelief, to say the least. They're in shock, if you will. They're trying to absorb this news that they've heard this afternoon. And most of them, to sum it all up, Jonah, they think it's not happening. It's a mere nightmare, if you will.
Very unfortunate there.
Elfie, I would like to understand if we've also been able to hear from any other political figures that are speaking on what has happened here, this tragedy, us losing a former Republican president, Edgar Lungu.
So, of course, we are monitoring our Facebook pages, various political figures. What we have currently is just Emmanuel Mwamba's page. Of course, he posted, I think, that video has gone viral of the late Republican president's daughter, Tasila Lungu, just confirming the death of the former Republican president. But for other political leaders, I can imagine they're scribbling their phones or their diaries, if you will, just to make sure that they pen down how they're going to convey their last respects to the Republican president. But for now, I think many Zambians are just commiserating on this news that they've received this afternoon to say it's very unfortunate, and to soak it all up in. And if I'm failing to